Hello everybody, this is my video 5. Well, as you can see, my native language is French, therefore I will try to speak the best English I can. And something else, I have to follow a text so that I don't forget important details. And for those who find my video without going through my website, let me introduce myself. My name as a self-taught and multidisciplinary scientist is Gilles Lauzon-Urtubise, and I am the owner of the firsthumanmultiintelligence.com site. So you know then the title of my video is Big Bang. Is it a logical concept? Well, for me I reject the Big Bang because it's never happened for a multitude of physical and logical reason and evidence. Well, to begin with, according to well-known sources and that of the French-speaking Wikipedia, the age of the Sun, for example, is around 4.568 billion years. Okay, so, and that age is roughly acceptable for me. And the age of the universe is about 13.8 billion years old. And that age to me is utterly ridiculous, delusional, and utterly wrong. So I don't I don't believe in the Big Bang for many reasons. And I don't believe in the age so young, like only 13.8 billion years. In addition, and according to the same Wikipedia source, there is a list of 119 supermassive black holes that have been discovered so far. And the fact that we are currently unable to measure the true size of the universe, that as a consequence, there are surely many more supermassive black holes that remain to be discovered. Of the list of 119 supermassive black holes, the smallest one has a mass of 1,300,000 times the mass of the Sun. And the largest one, or the largest of them, has a mass of 16 billion times the mass of our Sun. On one hand, the age of each supermassive black hole is expected to be on average relatively proportional to each other and proportional to that of the Sun. So if we attribute an age of 4.568 billion years to the Sun, this will proportionally attribute an age of 1,300,000 times older than Sun for the smallest supermassive black hole, which with an age of 5,938,400 billion years. And that's even more for the largest supermassive black hole, which is 16 billion times older than the Sun, and his age is about 301 billions 488 millions of billion years. So, or 3.1 or 301,488 trillion years old. It is known and recognized by the world of astrophysicists that black holes increase in volume thanks to all the quantities of material that they can occasionally swallow up. So when a black hole is coming close to an object, which when he had this is only on this time they have a chance to swallow up to it. On the other hand, if the concept of the Big Bang and primordial nucleosynthesis have existed, how to explain that there is such an astronomical difference between the mass of the Sun, which is equivalent to one solar mass, and that of the supermassive black hole, which is 16 billion solar masses. So, yeah, so how can we explain this situation? You know, so because if primordial nucleosynthesis happen, we should find a lot of star with about the same masses. So, but it's not then. So otherwise, the concept of the Big Bang and that of primordial nucleosynthesis never happened. This is much more logic than the Big Bang and the primordial nucleosynthesis. It's never happened, and that's the best explanation. On the other hand, it is impossible in physics to compress two hydrogen atoms into the extremely small volume of a single atom, and even less of all atoms in the universe in the extremely small volume of a single atom. Or imagine that a volume the size of an atom is between my two fingers pressed together, that it can produce a Big Bang and transform into a quantity of object which is immense and incalculable in number. Because this number is so huge, then it's almost it's so immense and it's almost imaginable. And furthermore, in a volume and mass which are so enormous that is impossible, yes, and further in volume or mass global, which are so enormous that it's impossible for a human mind to imagine their entire volume and aggregate mass. In addition to the fact that we don't know the true size of the universe, because it's bigger than we think, so it's just make these things much more impossible. In addition, according to the French video source, our Milky Way galaxy has between 200 to 400 billion stars and at least 100 billion planets. And according to a source which is the one for the latest estimate of the number of galaxies in the observable universe, it is about 2,000 billion galaxies. So, well, this number is so huge, and the galaxy, they have so many stars, so all of those things, it's so big, then it's just make impossible. Then they comes from a small volume like the ones behind my two finger. So doesn't make any sense then. And the obvious consequences of this is to prove that there are still more galaxies. So after you factors in all of those huge numbers, you have to be extremely ignorant, inconscient, or dumb to still believe in the hyper ridiculous concept of the Big Bang. In fact, the concept of the Big Bang is the most ridiculous and incoherent in history. And it is the most monumental absurdity to have been invented by a human brain. On the other hand, it is normal to on the one hand, it is normal thought to invent all kinds of ideas, theory or concept that have all the nuances that vary between realistic and unrealistic or delusional, because that is exactly what I do, inventing all kinds of ideas, theory or concept that have all of the nuances that vary between realistic and unrealistic or delusional. But you have to rethink. But after you have to rethink of all these elements to sort out or reject all those that are unrealistic or delusional, and just keep the ones that stand up or are likely to make sense. As far as I am concerned, scientists who believe in the concept of the Big Bang, they are individuals who believe in accommodating magical thoughts that are the polar opposite of the common sense and physical reality. So this is a further evidence of a complete misunderstanding of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale on the part of all other astrophysicists before me. And why? Because the universe is so complex that they have to meet immense difficulty and complexity to overcome before all of the other astrophysicists before me can begin to decode little by little how all the objects in the universe work, and after to then be able to start forming different theories until they become satisfactory and agree with each other. And after this, and then to be able to start producing a sufficient quantity of theories that can all be complementary until they manage to explain how the universe works from A to Z, or almost until proven otherwise. So as to achieve the same level of explanation as all of my theories of my imposing mother theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale. For me, it is very easy to understand why no one before me had a chance to achieve such an intellectual feat, because it is of an immeasurable level of difficulty, and you will have proof of it when you can read my imposing mother theory on how the universe works on a macroscopic scale on my website and in a scientific journal to my name. For example, in the case of the great Albert Einstein, everybody knows he worked very hard all of his life. But because of his dominant magical thoughts, which I diagnose, and which always had the ascendancy over physical reality, well, like other scientists who have a strong intellectual dominant mathematical configuration of their brains, and who take precedence over physical reality. And because of this, the great Einstein has always been light years away from any early understanding of how of the universe works on a macroscopic scale. And despite his intellectual power, he's always been confused or deceived by his mathematical magical thoughts. So that if he had lived to be 100 years old with his same magical thoughts, he will never have had a chance to get close to any beginnings of understanding how the universe works on a macroscopic scale. And he is an example of a scientist who believes in whole life in the Big Bang concept of accommodating magical thinking. He will never had a chance. He will never had a chance to. Okay, as far as I know. Yes, and as far as I am concerned, there is no way that my extremely high physical logical mind could be buttered or fooled by any branches of complex mathematics like singularity. So, or any kind, because they have many kind of singularity in mathematics. So any one of them is good to be applied to any theories to explain the way of the universe works, or any parts of the universe works. Then, so then, and among my 50 or hundreds or more theories of my imposing mother theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, there is none that has any connection to mathematics. Besides, I am not here to discredit the works of the great Einstein, but it is my duty to discredit all of his work which is at odds with some of my theory of my imposing mother theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale. In addition, through my self-taught study in astrophysics, 5 years and 8 months to successfully decode the functioning of the universe on the macroscopic scale, there is no mystery that I have failed to decode or solve. And if there are any mystery to be discovered that I have yet to meet, I sincerely doubt that any mystery of the universe can withstand my very high intellectual powers in investigation, reflection, deep analysis, and inventiveness of all kind, and among other intellectual capacity. Because so far I have always managed to decode or solve all the mystery that I have encountered, or at least provide at least a satisfactory explanation or more than one. And of all my all of my theories that going into my imposing mother theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, there are none of them that can be called a theory of one or more accommodating magical thoughts, because all of my theories are based on one or more relationship of physical cause to physical effect and nothing else. And furthermore, I am the first to succeed in producing somewhere between 50 and 100 or more new theories in astrophysics to form my imposing theory of how the universe works on the macroscopic scale. On other hands, it if it's happened in the near future that I come to realize that one of my theory is no longer acceptable, I will change it right away. But it is impossible that any of my theories could be completely wrong, because they are all in agreement between each other. So for me it seems impossible. But if it's happened in the worst possible case, I will just have to make a slight modification to it, just a small one and no more. So, and why I'm so strong in physical reality, it's because I'm all of my life I was a passionate person. I always liked the nature. I always curious what happened in the nature. So I catch a lot of lesson from the nature about observation, or about a physical cause to a physical effect. So they comes out of my hard drive, my human hard drive or biological hard drive. So and it is pretty big, because when I analyze, when I'm doing a deep analyze, I need those knowledge, those real knowledge, real things, real effect, physical, not magical thoughts. They have nowhere in my hard drive they have magical thoughts. Nowhere. It's free. So, and that's why I'm so strong, and that's why I'm the one that succeed to decode the way of the universe works. So, well, thank you for viewing my video, and welcome to my next video, which will reveal my opinion on another subject in the universe. Thank you. Goodbye.